the person you fell in love with doesn't actually exist. Hello my lovelies and welcome to another video. I am beyond myself with excitement to get back into filming as it's the beginning of the new year. Everything that you've seen so far on YouTube was filmed last year. So this is actually the first video that I'm filming in 2023. And I have to say that I really enjoyed having some holidays. It was much needed, but it was also like, I wouldn't say it was something that I just wanted to have for like to rest or to sleep or whatever, but it was just to like refresh in my mind so that I can get like new ideas and so that I can get back on like my kind of track of long-term strategy planning. You know what I mean? All good. Anyway, I am back, as you guys know, as the title says, with the second video of my Solving Your Dilemmas. Now, I've done the first one 5 months ago, so if you like seeing these videos, definitely go and check that one out. I filmed that back at home, and I just thought, since I'm still in Dubai, I don't want to miss any uploads. I don't want to film any videos that like are just like random, whatever, like poor quality. I wanted to film actually something that you guys have been requesting, and this is exactly where we're at. So before we get into it, I wanted to say that also in January, I am planning to film all the videos that I always film every January, but I also would like to focus a little bit on goal setting, planning, resetting for the new year. So probably one of the next videos will be exactly that. Maybe under this video even you can leave comments of what you would like to see when it comes to like goal setting, resetting and planning for 2023, so that I can exactly answer your questions. But I will show you all of my techniques and how I do it to start the year fresh. Now, onto your dilemmas. I have to say, I am a water sign, right? I'm a Pisces and I'm an empath. I very often need my alone time because sometimes I take on other people's problems and energies and I try to give so much energy to them and so many solutions and options and ideas that very often I take their energy in and afterwards I can feel it. And this morning I started reading like dilemmas and some were really like, they affected me because I was feeling for you guys. I was like, wow, you know, there's so much pain and problems in this world that I don't even know. But I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna try and find like some most kind of like interesting ones that I feel like are quite interesting for everybody, and we get on with solving some dilemmas. So, okay, the first one. My best friend still humiliates my career. She's perfect, but she kind of doesn't like it. It's because I didn't earn lots of money before. I was building that company for years, and it is true, I didn't earn a lot of money, but now it's pretty good. She still talks about how I should leave that and start working for someone else, but I love the company and proud of what I learned. Money is not the biggest priority. Also, fun fact is that she has all her money from her husband. I'm sad of that whole situation. Thank you and love you. You're the biggest inspiration. Thank you so much. Wow, I think like a lot of dilemmas were actually with friends. And I'm someone who strongly believes that if someone is working on their passion, you need to give them their space and you need to give them encouragement. And look, as humans, nobody is perfect. So to have a friend that is perfect in every other aspect, besides an aspect of supporting you, might also mean that maybe she has fears or she is projecting her own fears of like fear of failure onto you, which is not healthy for you, but maybe she doesn't know that. Maybe you should tell her, listen, I'm at a stage of my life where I need your support, your full support, and I would like you to give me your support. As my business is starting to grow, I need your support. Can you give that to me? And if she says, no, I cannot give that to you, I don't want to support you, I think that's very selfish. But if she understands your point of view, if she's a real friend, she would understand your point of view. Like, you know, it's normal that sometimes people are projecting fears on other people. Like parents do that all the time. They project their own fears onto their children because they want the best for them. So maybe she doesn't actually have like a bad bone in her body about it. You know what I mean? Maybe she doesn't mean it in a bad way. But you need to express that to her. You need to tell her, listen, for the next 5 years, which is the deadline I'm giving myself to make my business succeed, I need your support. After that, as good friend, you can help me think of plan B. But for the next 5 years, I need your unconditional support, even in the moments when I'm failing. You know, like, you need to be there for your friends. You need to be there for your friends following their passion, and you need to tell her, listen, I need you to be there for me while I'm following my passion. And also, if it doesn't work out, I need you to be there for me. And I also have this fear, but I need to try, otherwise I will regret it. That's it. If she understands, she's your friend. I think, like, if she doesn't understand, you should just try not to discuss the career, and every time she tries to bring it up, you just remind her that this is not a topic you would like to discuss with her. That's what I would do. Let's see, the next one. Hi Tamara, I'm from Montenegro, currently living in Milan as a student. I'm oriented towards building my career, but at the same time want to have a family at a decent time. I have a long-distance relationship with my loving boyfriend who respects me and is loyal, but he doesn't have the need to visit me here. I'm very afraid of the fact that there's a possibility for me to be alone in life, which is my biggest fear. My parents have been divorced since I was 3, and later on my mother died in a car accident, which forced me to live with my dad and his new wife. Is there a chance you could help me overcome this fear somehow? Thank you so much. Love watching your videos and hoping you'll see each other one day on the streets of Milan. First of all, it doesn't sound like you've had an easy life. It's a lot of stuff have happened to you, a lot of stuff which could have caused trauma and big consequences also on your kind of like decision making, mental health and other things, which I think it's always something to consider. It's like a very, very important layer of personality. When it comes to your fear of staying alone, I mean, I don't know how old are you, you know, it's obviously, it's also important. You could be 20 or you could be 45 or you could be, you know, it doesn't really matter. Fear is there, right? And fears are never really good if they are controlling the way that the quality of your life is. So fear is actually good in order to make us keep alive, right? Fear that will tell us, okay, listen, you should not put your hand on a hot stove because it's hot. The fear of height can be good because you don't want to like look over the balcony fence. You know, there are certain fears, like fear of running across the street is good because you're not going to do it. But there are fears that are actually stopping us from having good quality life. Those are the bad fears. And I think this fear is one of them because you are potentially holding on to a relationship which I think you are aware that is not a good one. Because you're saying, my boyfriend doesn't want to visit me in Milan, which means that something inside of you knows that he's somehow not committed. I don't know what it is, you don't probably know what it is either, but some little part of you inside knows that there's something that is not what is making this relationship it, right? But you're clinging onto it because you don't want to stay alone. And I think that when we stay in a relationship that is not what we exactly want, just so that we're not alone, is a big problem. But because you have stated that you've obviously experienced a lot in your life already, I would strongly advise therapy. I don't know if you already go to therapy, but I think that you need to let go of certain things that have already happened, like terrible events that have happened in your childhood. And in order to kind of like get the confidence of making your own decisions, I think therapy could be very beneficial. I feel like whenever there's a huge fear in life, therapy helps. You know, this is not just a problem like I had a fight with my friend and I'm really upset now. This is like much deeper, I believe. I think the root of this problem is much deeper. I think you do know that you're not happy with this relationship and you are keeping on with it because of certain traumas. That's my view on it. So I really hope I ran into you in Milan as well. And just also wanted to put a side note, since you're in a city that is not your own, it could seem that like finding a right therapist could be harder, but actually nowadays, like I've said this before, therapy is like mental hygiene, like polishing your brain. You know, you need to solve certain problems of the past which are pulling you back, because it's like, this is the big, we call it like kamen spoticanja in Serbian, which is like a stone that you keep tripping over. The things that you don't solve from your life before are basically the stone that you keep falling over and over again on your way to succeed in life. So I think that you can find an online therapy, even back in Montenegro, like Skype sessions, start with that and see, maybe like you will not find the right therapist right away, but you try another one, and until you finally find the person that can help you deal with certain things of your past, that's when you will be able to move on. That's my belief. Okay, let's see. I was talking to a guy for 2 months and we both by chance ended up in Paris for a vacation. We had the 2 most beautiful dates. He got scared and feels he's emotionally unstable. Now I'm so heartbroken. You know, this is so interesting because I can completely understand how awful you feel, because for sure you had high hopes for this relationship to continue to like kind of succeed. But there's one thing with these kind of situations is that we actually don't fall in love with the person. We fall in love with the idea of the person. You probably thought that you guys are going to have like the most incredible life together. You had 2 beautiful dates. You really liked him. He seems like a perfect fit for everything that you wanted in your life. But actually the problem is that in this situation, people don't actually fall in love with a person. They fall in love with the idea that they created in their head. And this is something you have to explain to yourself. You need to have a conversation with yourself, which is very important, by the way, in which you explain to yourself that the person that you're really now in love with is actually a fictional character. Because I'm sure you didn't fall in love with an emotionally unstable person or a person that is not so sure about you. You fell in love with a person that you thought is perfect, right? But it's not. And you just need to explain to yourself that the person you fell in love with doesn't actually exist. And this is something very interesting. Like once, many years ago, I received an email from a guy from America telling me that for the past 6 months, he's been texting with a person online, and this person has been sending me my pictures, right? And not just that, she even created like a fake ID from America with my picture. So like everything. He's been texting with this person for 6 months, and he said every day he was going home from work so excited to be talking to me again, because he said the personality was amazing. He was like seeing my pictures, right? But the person that he actually fell in love probably is someone else. Could be even a man, nobody knows, right? So he texted me after 6 months to tell me, you know, I'm in love with you because I've been talking to you for 6 months, but it wasn't you. It was just your image in my head that I had every day that I was going home from work, thinking, being so excited to talk to you again. And then eventually he understood that the person doesn't exist and that those pictures were my pictures. So he texted me and he sent me all the conversations. And he was like, I'm heartbroken because I'm in love with you, but it's actually not you, but it is you. I'm just using this example because actually this guy, he thought he was in love with me, but because the image of the person that he was in love with was my image. And it was completely faulty because this person made him believe into something that was not true. And his brain made him believe something that's not true. And I think the same way, I felt so heartbroken, by the way, for this guy, because I was like, I can't help you, you know, like, but I'm sorry, it's not me. And it's the same way with this person. Like, you fell in love with this person, but you just have to also equally explain to yourself. Luckily, it was short period, you know, you said you were texting for a few months, right? 2 months. You will get out of it in 2 months' time. You just need to explain to yourself that the person that you fell in love with is just not what you thought it is. What I really dislike with people, women and men both, they're both equally like faulty at doing this, is when people give people false hope. You know, like someone is like texting you for 2 months, even though they know they're emotionally unstable, right? They know they're not ready to fall in love. They know they cannot commit. They know. But they want a bit of company. They want to text with someone. They want someone to adore them, to love them, whatnot, you know? So they're like texting you for 2 months, even though they know they're not emotionally unstable. And then 2 months later, once you fall in love, they tell you, oh, by the way, I'm not emotionally stable, so I cannot really be in a relationship right now or fall in love. Thanks, bye. It's like, this is really unfair. And I think if you value yourself, you're not gonna even try and bother, because why bother being in a relationship with someone that's not going to be able to give you long-term love that you deserve? That's it. I'll leave it at. Okay, next one. There's a guy I follow on Instagram who is my dream guy. I can't stop fantasizing about us being together, but only because he's my perfect match. We are from the same background, same area, same religion. He is my type physically and mentally. The issue is he doesn't know I exist. I don't have social media. I just follow people from a low-key account. Also, I know he may have recently moved, but still in the same country. On paper, he's everything I would dream for. We're so similar. There's like a bit of danger about this because you actually do not really know this guy. You don't know if he like snores very loudly when he sleeps, or he is like has very annoying trait that you cannot stand with, or he is stingy, or he is, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, right? So the best thing I think about relationships is getting into them without too many conceptions, like and preconceptions, because I think that was very good also about Filippo and I, that we got to know each other first without any idea of each other. Whereas I think, like, you know, either it can end with like a fairy tale situation where you really find out that this is the guy of your dreams, or you can quite get disappointed because you're like, I really want it to work because in my head I think it's a perfect match for me, but I'm not really happy. You know what I mean? However, what have you got to lose if you approach this guy? If you create an Instagram account, with your pictures, with your name, you add him on there, I don't know if you live like in a very conservative background, because that could perhaps maybe stopping you from doing that, but there's nothing to lose. This way you're just sitting at home and you could spend another 10 years dreaming about this guy without him knowing that you exist. Or you can take things in your hands and meet him, and even if you don't like him or he doesn't like you, then that's done. You know, you can move on with your life without regrets, knowing that you have tried, you've been there, you tried. It's not for you, that's it. So there's absolutely nothing to lose, besides right now that you're losing a lot of time thinking about what could be, what would be, and dreaming about someone that is just seems so unattainable. And the longer you dream about him, I think it's worse for even if you ever meet him, because he will put more pressure on you. That's what I believe. Let's see. There are a lot of like dilemmas. There are like, I want to buy a Birkin. I'm like, that's not really quite the dilemma I was talking about. There's some questions that are also like how to know a guy is the one. Guys, if there was, or how to find the right guy, if there was like a recipe for this, we all would have benefited from this like long time ago. I wouldn't have had to like kiss many frogs before I found my prince, I think, you know? It's the rule of life. There's no rule. You sometimes get lucky, or sometimes you get unlucky, but then you learn from it and you kind of understand what you're actually looking for. But overall, there's really no way of knowing if the guy is right or how to find the right guy. There's one interesting, it says, luckily married, but all of a sudden fell in love with someone else. What should I do? If this like falling in love with someone else happened very quick and is here, I would try to distance myself from that. I am someone who strongly believes in a team. When I say a team, I didn't want to use a word marriage, because I think marriage can mean a lot of like paperwork and unnecessarily kind of, I don't just believe in marriage, I believe in a relationship, I believe in a team of two people that are constantly trying to help each other become a better person and are there for each other in good and bad, and maybe not always, because like the way that I see that team is spending 40, 50 years with one person, right? Emotionally or romantically. And it doesn't mean that you will always have the same butterflies, you will always have the same passion, you will always have like great time with that person or excitement, but that's your team person, that's the person that is rooting for you, that's your family, okay? Unless, of course, the marriage relationship team is wrong, like it's wrong, it's toxic, the person's cheating on you, God forbid abusing you or anything like that. Like don't even wanna, like I'm talking about your team person, because you say you're happily married. And you know, when something is working and there's like a little bit of like a passionate distraction coming along, I would strongly try to ignore it. I believe that even if you are to pursue something on the side, I believe you will regret it. I think it ruins relationships. You know, I would really try and focus on my marriage and my happy marriage, because it's not easy to find that one person. I believe in loyalty. I believe in faithfulness. I think it's so important, and it's a virtue that is very important to both Filippo and I. You never know what life brings, right? But I would just try and completely ignore that. I think it's a distraction. I would try and distance myself from that person. Like if you see that person at work, I would try not to. I would try not to speak to that person. I would try to sabotage that even potentially from happening in any way, shape or form. But then if it was like an unhappy marriage, and you fall in love, like a very bad relationship or a bad whatever, that's another story that we're not getting into now, because that's not your dilemma. Someone said, my best friend cut me out of his life after 10 years without saying goodbye. How do I let go? I literally don't know what to say about this one, because I need more information. Like what happened? Why did they cut you out of their life? Did you do something really bad? Or did they just decide that they are like, I don't need you anymore? Because honestly, guys, I've been in a situation, like I was much younger, where someone just like decides that they move on without like being friends with you anymore, and you like try to keep in touch, but they're just not keeping back in touch, and that's it. And I know it's very hard, but now looking back, I'm like, wow, you know, it just wasn't really the real friendship. This is what I discussed also in one of my previous videos. I think it's important to sometimes understand the difference between true friendship from a friendship that is like there for like going out or traveling. You have some friends that are just like your travel buddies, or friends that are your like nightlife, like, you know, going out buddies, or friends that, different kind of friends. Those type of friends are different from true friendships. You say this is a 10-year friendship. Time doesn't really mean anything. You can be 10 years knowing somebody but that they're not your true friend ever, actually. It's a bit sad, but it's the reality. I really wanted to answer to this one girl, but I can't find the beginning of her question because I think she sent me a question in the Q&A bit, but then she continued on the DMs. So now I cannot find the beginning, which I think is a problem. Oh, okay, here it is. It says, "Hey Tamara, my dilemma is a longer one. I've been with my boyfriend for 2.5 years. He used to be a professional soccer player, but had to end his career because of a knee injury. I couldn't always be with him during that time because I was studying abroad, but I flew back and forth as often as I could to support him during that time. I'm sure it must have been very difficult. It was a really hard time for him because this was his passion and dream forever and ever, but he suddenly had to face reality and find a new purpose in life. He was in a really dark place for months. I finished my master's and moved back, but since then everything was different. He changed. I tried to give him space to find himself. A few months later, I found something. I was on his laptop looking for jobs and an iCloud notification popped up. So I quickly went through his pictures and found a lot of screenshots of chats with women he was talking to. I confronted him and I was also confused as to why he would take screenshots of these chats. First of all, he knew he messed up and he was sorry, but he wasn't clingy or anything. He told me he loved me but understood if I broke up because it was inexcusable. After a break and several conversations, I forgave him. But since then, we haven't seen each other that much because we both wanted to get our lives together. He went to Dubai and was supposed to stay there for a week, but he extended to 3. Before he flew to Dubai, I told him that maybe he didn't have to get me anything for Christmas because of money or something. I brought him a gift because I worked at a coffee shop and wanted to surprise him. I thought after he extended Dubai to 3 weeks, maybe he would think of me and buy something small. I was wrong. He came back with nothing. I don't know if I'm wrong for thinking he could have bought something or if I'm expecting too much. At this point in our relationship, I feel not being seen or appreciated. Is it still a difficult situation or am I too needy? Should I have more faith in life before taking action to end this relationship? He's my first boyfriend, so you can imagine how much I love him and I don't want to lose him. Okay, let me tell you straight up. I think absolutely inexcusable what he did to you. While you were there for him, helping him get over a horrible situation after his knee injury, which I'm sure is awful. It's basically like a pianist losing a hand, you know what I mean? Like a knee injury is awful, but you were there for him. You tried to be there for him. You tried to like really help him. Clearly, like let me tell you, I'm in Dubai right now. Dubai is very expensive. To stay here for 3 weeks, there's no money issue there then. Like, I don't know, it's not for sure everything is expensive in Dubai. It's not like you come here to enjoy, well, I don't know, at least maybe different kind of Dubai, you know, but like, it's not like you come here for 3 weeks on a cheap, I don't know, like, well, maybe in a different type of accommodation and lifestyle, like not eating out and not, I don't know, like, I don't know. Anyway, but as a tourist, I think it's not just something, you know, you go on for as an economic holiday. What I wanted to say is that clearly this guy is going through a very dark space, which has changed him. But like you have a responsibility to be there for him because you love him and you appreciate him and you think that he's the man for you. I think he also has responsibility to help himself to go through this dark period. Another thing that we say in Serbian is, we say something along the lines of help yourself and God will help you too. Like, you cannot just expect some miracle that other people help you, that the God's gonna help you, that whatever's gonna help you. You have to first help yourself in order to get the help. One thing that I really have a big problem with is people who are expecting that everybody else is going to solve their problems and help them and take them out of the dark place and whatnot. It doesn't work like that. When you go through a problem, as much as you have a huge support system, you are alone to help yourself. You know, like, not comparing this by any way, shape or form with an injury, but I've been through like situations in my life where I needed to deal with things mentally myself. I've been through like very toxic relationships. I went through like that kind of robbery last year, right? Like a lot of my friends called me and they were like, oh my God, you must be so traumatized looking over your shoulder all the time now. And I was like, I am helping myself to get over it mentally so that I don't feel unsafe on the street, so that I can have a normal life, so that I can still like beautiful things. and I need to help myself. It's not Filippo, it's not my parents, it's not my sister, it's not my friend's job to get me out of it. It's my own responsibility to help myself, and I think this guy is not doing anything about it. He's literally putting sand over the problem by probably like talking to some women and doing like really terrible things, because he clearly doesn't deserve you, let me tell you. He needs to go to therapy to overcome his dark. Also, like clearly like a solution to every problem for me is therapy. But I think, I'm sorry, and you guys let me know if you agree with me, after you have a huge injury, which is resulting in you having to give up on your passion in life, and you have to deroot everything that you ever thought of your life, don't you think that this is traumatic and requires therapy to get over it? You need to work on yourself, you need to work on your mind, you need to help yourself, you need to get out of the dark place. That's the only way that other people then can support you as well. I mean, this is my vision on it, and if he's not going to be helping himself, but the only thing he's doing is ruining also your life because he's clearly being very selfish about it, that's not worth sticking around with. There's plenty of men that will appreciate you wanting to be supportive, loving woman by their side. That's my opinion. Let's do a few more, because I have to go for a meeting. Someone says, I don't know, but I might love my friend who is like a brother. Guys, so many beautiful marriages and relationships came out of friendships. I know a lot of my friends who were like friends first for many, many, many years, and then beautiful relationships came out of it. I know it's risky because you always wonder like, what if I lose also a friend? But I think it's a risk worth taking if you both are in love, though tricky. Again, how to set intentions and goals, we'll talk about that. Oh, I'm in love with two guys. How do I choose? I don't think one can be in love with two guys. But honestly, I always felt in my life, you either have nobody or two guys came at the same time. That's kind of how I always felt my whole entire life. In fact, when I met Filippo, around maybe like 2 days later, or before, I can't remember now, I met another guy that was like very interested, but somehow I immediately knew it was Filippo. I was like, I didn't even have any questions about that. How do you choose? You just have to like follow your heart, you know? You have to say like, okay, I choose this one, and then your heart will tell you if it's actually the other one. I really, really, really strongly believe in that. I think you need to like distance yourself, not see either of them for like a week, and then ask yourself. My boyfriend broke up with me 1.5 years ago. I still think about him every day. Any advice? Yes, you clearly didn't have a closure. And you know, I once had a bad breakup where I thought like, I'll never get over this. I'll never get over this. This will be very, very hard. And let me tell you, you always get over it, right? But the thing is, and I never forget also, like I was reading like how to get over a bad breakup, like, or a heartbreak. And the worst for me was that I broke up the relationship, and I like didn't really want to break it off, but I just knew that the relationship didn't have any future. So it was very hard. It was even harder because he didn't want to break up. That's when I think like I didn't have the closure. I didn't have the like, you know, wasn't sure of everything. So I think in this situation, people often say like, oh, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. I don't think that's true. I think you need your time to recover, but you also need to get out there. You need to get chatting to other men. You need to start meeting other guys. The guy that I met after my breakup, just to give you a bit of idea, was a lovely, lovely, wonderful guy. I really liked him. We got on so well. Everything was perfect, but I just knew it was kind of like a rebound, and we stayed together for a while, but it wasn't really it, you know? So I think it is important to get yourself out there and to kind of try and to speak to different men, not to like do things that you don't feel like, but see how you get on. Life has to keep going on. You can't stay in the same place. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. And eventually, sooner or later, I can promise you, it might take even 5 years. You don't know, but you will get over this guy. That's for sure. Because unless you just sit there and every day think about him and you constantly fantasize and dream about getting together, then you will not help yourself get over it. How to deal with friends that envy your accomplishments? Very easy. Those are not friends. Like, I have friends, and I've had friends that were my friends since before I started doing this job, right? And they are same people in my life, like they act the same way. They're so happy for my success. They're by my side all the time, whatever happened or didn't happen, they were always by me, like by my side, through bad times, through good times. There are also people that were my friends before, and then when I started doing this, once I started succeeding, they started mocking my job, they started gossiping about me, they were like saying that, you know, this is such a stupid job, what am I even doing, like taking selfies for Instagram, you know. That was like when I was just starting, and now of course they're like, when I run into them on the street, they're like, oh my god, it's so amazing what you achieved, and I'm just like smiling and I'm thinking, yeah, you used to literally like mock me and say to everybody that it's so stupid what I do. And honestly guys, like they were these people that like pretended to be my friends back in when I was starting to do this, and they would like post stuff on Instagram like mocking to be me, and honestly like they're now and also back then like the biggest losers, because who does that? Who envies someone for trying to pursue whatever? You know what I mean? Like there's no need to do that. If like my friend now, that is like a friend of mine for the whole life, tries to become a singer and she's not good at it, but she's trying and like she's kind of doing something, not that I wasn't good at it, but I wasn't like great, you know, I was trying. And if like my friend is like trying, she's not terrible, but she's not the best, but she's trying and she's doing something and she starts to get some traction, I'll be like the first cheerleader. I'll be like, listen honey, we're gonna try this for a few years. I'm gonna be like your biggest supporter. I'll go tell everybody about what you're trying to do, and if it doesn't work out 5 years later, we anyway are going to be 5 years older than today, right? Hopefully. So might as well try do something that you're passionate about. And if you have people around you that are trying to envy you or be toxic about it or mock you, get rid of those people immediately. Or if you feel like you really are emotionally involved with them, then try and speak to them. At which financial stage is it okay to spend money on Birkin? At a stage where you don't even feel that you will not feel that you're spending that money, like you will not miss that money. That money will come out of your account, but you will not even feel. That's my opinion about everything. Like if that Birkin that you buy will get stolen in a month, you will not feel like it's the worst thing that happened to you. That's at which stage, I think. When I date a guy, I keep thinking that there's a better girl for him out there. How to stop this? This is a huge issue with the self-worth and confidence in general. But clearly you don't think you're worth it. And this is a big problem. I think confidence and self-worth, they're two different things. I always discuss this with Xenia. Self-worth is tough. Self-worth is tough at work. Like if you think like you don't deserve the money that you're getting, you don't deserve the guy that you're dating, you don't deserve the love of your parents that you're getting, it can be anything really, you know? And it's a big problem, I think, but it's something that definitely can be fixed. You just need to work on it. You need to read books, you need to educate yourself, you need to seek professional help. Maybe there is something in your childhood or youth that you need to deal with. I think this is Filippo that is trying to tell me that it's time to go. For sure. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm opening, baby. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys. Happy New Year. I wish you a wonderful one with a lot less problems, with a lot less dilemmas, and let's see you in the next one. Bye, guys.